Welcome to the service clinic at Low Country Harley-Davidson. I'm Doc Harley. Well, this year I've talked about passing lamps, auxiliary lamps, and changing them out from incandescent to LEDs. And in the past I've talked about headlamps, changing from the old style to LEDs. So we might as well end the year up talking about LEDs in turn signals. Seems to be one of the most popular things to do to the motorcycle, and I understand why. LEDs are bright, and I like the new LEDs that in the front running lights, you have white, and that really gets people's attention. And then when you hit the turn signals, they go amber. But let's talk about some of the points you need to know if you're thinking of putting LEDs in your motorcycle. Let's talk about old school here, okay? When turn signals first came onto Harleys, well, they used automotive flashers. Yeah, the current would go in and then go to the turn signals, and when the current got the bimetal piece inside hot enough, it would lift and the power would go off. Then it'd cool down and come back on, and that's how it controlled the turn signals. But in the early turn signals, you had to keep your finger on the button to keep the turn signals going. So the public wanted something that would continue to blink even after they pushed it. Well, Harley came out first with a switch that locked, but then the next part was a turn signal module. Yeah, something easy, quick, and you can still get an aftermarket one like this for early dressers. This would be tie wrapped, you could see the grooves, onto the fork on the right-hand side. And this went up to the turn signal, so when you push the button, it would count so many times to flash and then turn off. That was good, but you and I both know that sometimes traffic's coming and it takes a while before you make that turn. So then the next evolution was the turn signal module. This thing knows when the bike tilts, and it controls the turn signals a lot better. But if you're going to put LEDs in this, let's just say you chose an LED that replaced the bulb. You undo this one, you put this one in, very easily put this on, and it actually has its own cap. So this is one of the easiest LED conversions versus the whole unit that you would change. Well, when you put LEDs into the older systems are looking for a certain resistance to make the turn signals work. Well, LEDs, of course, you and I both know, doesn't take a lot of amperage to work. Well, that confuses these boxes, and so your flashers on your instrument panel or even on your turn signals, they double flash. I mean, they just go to town, going back, and you go, yeah, I can live with this, but it really isn't the way it's supposed to be. To do a proper installation is put the LED and then you use a load equalizer. It's kind of like a old-fashioned resistor. You put it in line with the power going to your turn signals, and it adds extra resistance. So this recognizes that, hey, a turn signal is on, let's just flash it the way it's supposed to flash. Now, earliest models, when I was dealing with this, they had a big warning on the instructions because this gets hot. So you don't put this covered up. You put it in an area where some air can get to it and help cool it off, because it is actually creating heat, making the resistance going to the LED. So if you have an early system and you're getting one of these, don't hide it and don't put it with other things that are on top of it, because it can get hot enough to melt items. So if you're going this route with any of these, look into a load equalizer to help this understand you've changed from an incandescent bulb to an LED bulb. Now, in 2014, well, 2012 and 11 on some models, we went with a body control module. Yeah, we're into computers here now. This thing is pretty smart. Now, it's still kind of dealing with resistance, but it actually knows current flow. How is the current flowing to whatever it's controlling? And an LED is different, and it knows that something is different with the current flow. But the nice thing with the BCM, the body control module, is, thank goodness Harley put a learning chip in it, so it can learn some things. And that's why we have the flashing going on behind me. When you put LEDs in, now, there are two big rules, all right? Learn this. You're putting LEDs in your bike. This is looking for the Harley-Davidson flow current. you can buy Amazon, you can buy Japanese, Taiwan, whatever, and get a really good price on an LED replacement, but it won't have the current flow that was programmed into this. So you can do what I'm about to show you, but it may not work because your flow current through your inexpensive, cheap, whatever you want to call it, LED, is not giving the computer what it is looking for. So let's say on your Harley, you put the Harley-Davidson LED replacements in it and you want this to learn it. Turn on your motorcycle. Do not start it. That's rule number one. Do not start your motorcycle. Once you do that, it can't learn it. All right, so turn it on, then hit your four-way flashers. And a lot of the instructions say count 12 times. First two don't count. It has to have 10 really good in a row. Here at the shop, straight up with you, we walk away. Let it flash for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Just let it go. I have a battery tender on this one here, but let it flash, let it learn. All right, when you're done, turn the motorcycle on, turn off your four-way flashers, and hit your turn signals. See that it works. See that it learned it. You might maybe have to do it a second time, but mostly it works if you walk away and let it learn its way. So you have that. You also have the opportunity, you can go to your dealer. They can hook up digital tech and go into the software and just flip the switch. And that's a lot faster than letting it flash, but it's up to you. You can do this at home. I just want you to know that this does not work with other LEDs that weren't programmed into this body control module, all right? Harley sells the complete units and they sell these. Of course, it's their product. They made this their programming. It might work with your aftermarket. If it does, please post it. You could say the brand on my post on YouTube and say, hey, I use such and such and the learning process worked. Great. More information for a lot of people. LEDs as in turn signals, I love it. It's bright. It gets your attention. I love the front ones with the white and turning to amber. But when you are doing this, know early models, you're going to have to put some kind of resistance. Front models, you're going to have to tell the computer you have LEDs. I'm Doc Harley. We'll see you next week.